Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Friday, January the 31st, 2020. I am Bhavanova with the details. SVG recorded its first homicide for 2020 yesterday afternoon. The victim is Cuban-born Ariana Taylor Israel, a nurse attached to the Milton K2 Memorial Hospital. According to reports, Taylor Israel, who is living in Cattels, went to the St. Martin's Secondary School around 3:30 p.m. to pick up her son, when she and a man in a Toyota Harrier shot at her at several times and drove off. Taylor was rushed to the Milton K2 Memorial Hospital, where she died about an hour later. The man who shot at the nurse was later identified to be her husband, Mitch Israel. The two were said to be going through a divorce. Israel is now in custody, assisting the police with their investigations. Our news team visited Cattels today, where the couple lived with their two sons. Neighbors were tight-lipped about the shooting incident. However, off camera, they described the nurse as a quiet and easygoing person. One elderly woman said she knows a couple, but they were private persons.
Seeing them pass up and down, they're not the friendly people. Well, me excuse you for that because she's not a Vincentian, right? So, thing. But I'm sorry for the two children as a mother, children, and you lose your mother. And you're there without no mother. It's hard. It's hard. No person could mother their children like the mother. Don't care how you try. The mother always have a tender spot in the heart for the child. And you should have think. Definitely make her, and especially in front of the child at school. So you should have think.
Our news team spoke with several other persons who condemned the shooting incident and said that women need to be more empowered and speak up when they are facing problems in the home.
Well, if ladies having a problem and they come and share it with others, they can't know to counsel them. Sometimes you have to come and share your problem with others that you could get help. Not only in the community could know that you are the person cussing, but you have to go to high authorities and share your problem with them so that they can do something in order to stop it from reaching so far. But most people cancel it to themselves. Yeah. Some people back down, the ladies back down and say no. But I think that they're supposed to go to the courts. And the courts go do something about it. Because when you leave things like that, you come in like the country gain a bad name about ladies. A lady is supposed to make a step. Yeah.
And they will come and complain to you. And then you will give them advice and they do listen to your advice. They go and do something else different. So, not everybody like to speak out on the problem, right? Some people like to hold it to themselves.
In a statement, the SVG Nurses Association said the nursing fraternity has lost another gem in the nursing profession, as they mourn with the family and close friends of Nurse Taylor, especially her two sons. The association said Taylor Israel was a dedicated and hard-working nurse who was a former executive member of the association, and that she will be greatly missed. There must be an open and frank discussion to uncover the root causes of domestic violence in the society today. So says Reverend Adolph Davis, Superintendent of the Kingston Chateaublais Circuit of the Methodist Church, during a telephone interview with SVG-TV News. Reverend Davis said with the advances in society, persons have been turning away from their Christian values, which she believes is one of the contributing factors in a rise in domestic violence.
Look at how they organize themselves and they function very communally as a society. And we have shifted in many respects. You look at how they tried to be a very religious, God-fearing, even though sometimes their religion may not have gone more than skin deep. Society, and we are walking away from those things. Those things we have to ask questions about to figure out why is it that these incidents are taking place. And so I am saying this to say we can have the immediate knee-jerk, very emotive response and say, wow, this is craziness. We need to tell the men them stop, and this is, we need to speak out against it. Or do we need to ask some fundamental questions about what has changed in our society and whether or not this is the price we are paying for those changes and how we reevaluate ourselves. And I'm convinced that one of the changes that has taken place over the years, apart from our values, is our sense of godliness. And there's no doubt in my mind, the less godly people are, is the more they're going to lack a deep sense of neighborliness. But there's much more to it than that, but just to offer that one perspective.
Reverend Davis said while legislative reform can play a role in addressing the issue, this is only a short-term solution. Another solution which persons have suggested is the use of counseling. However, Reverend Davis said this will not bring about a long-term solution.
Counseling is a band-aid. Counseling is a band-aid solution. Counseling is not addressing the solution. Counseling is not addressing the cause of the problem. And so you will have to, no doubt, as the instances occur, as you identify some of the brokenness and so forth, you will have to have counseling interventions. But counseling interventions tend to come after you see a problem. So, for example, a young man may grow up, in a dysfunctional home, not growing up in the preferred arrangement with a stable mother and father. But he looks as if he's managing well all the time because, he's going to school, getting good grades. And sometimes it's not until he explodes that we realize that he really was not doing well. And now counseling comes into the equation.
The Methodist minister said many questions related to manhood and masculinity must be asked, and an environment where such conversations can be had must be encouraged.
Some people argue that men who resort to violence feel powerless, and their way in which they're trying to, as it were, feel empowered is violence. No, I said to the person, if you go with that thesis, that theory, it means that if you're going to try to address this problem of man's powerlessness, the conversation may very well be one about empowering men. So, politically, in our modern society, the concept of empowering men immediately evokes serious disquiet and discomfort. You immediately begin to provoke thoughts of chauvinism and patriarchy, because we associate patriarchy with power and all of that. And so you have a real problem. So I'm using that as an example to say, how do we honestly evaluate the problem?
In other news, the police have arrested and jointly charged Jim Roy Phillips, a 23-year-old fisherman of Rolling Hill, and Roland Cato, a 20-year-old laborer of Ratamil, with the offense of theft. The police said the accused men allegedly stole one black knapsack value containing a quantity of items, the property of a 27-year-old medical doctor of Slovenia. The incident occurred at Canash Beach on Wednesday this week. Meanwhile, the police have arrested and jointly charged Les Warren, a 21-year-old laborer of Lomans Leeward, and Gerald Tash, a 27-year-old laborer of Calder, with an unlicensed firearm and ammunition possession. The accused men were allegedly met in possession of one Glock 19, 9mm pistol, and 16 rounds of 9mm ammunition without a license issued under the Firearms Act. The incident occurred at Lomans Leeward on Tuesday. These persons were expected to appear before the Serious Offences Court yesterday to answer to their respective charges. Sigilla McDowell has been confirmed as SVG's Director of Public Prosecution after acting in a post for almost 2 years. The announcement was made on a radio program by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who is also the Minister of Legal Affairs. McDowell had acted at the post since Colin Williams left in 2018 to become a judge in Belize. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Joseph Davey continues to encourage persons here to engage in proper hygienic practices to prevent the spread of various viruses. Her comments comes as many countries around the world are in heightened alert for the deadly coronavirus originated from China. Dr. Davey said the coronavirus, also referred to as the Wuhan virus, is similar to SARS, and the symptoms are similar to that of the flu.
The signs and symptoms for coronavirus, the novel coronavirus, would be fever with or without respiratory illness. We're talking about coughing, shortness of breath. Those are the main symptoms. As you can tell, they're no different from any flu or any of your regular influenza or flu-like viral illness out there. The incubation period for this virus is 2 to 14 days. And when we speak of case definition For persons who would suspect for having coronavirus, it would be people with fever and or respiratory illness who would have been associated to a confirmed case of the 2019 coronavirus, or would have been in a place where there's known transmission of the virus.
The infectious disease specialist said a good immune system along with proper hygienic practices is a good defense against such viruses.
In terms of prevention from any viral illness, and you would hear me preach all the time, proper hand washing techniques. We use public transport. If you don't have access to running water and soap at that moment, you can use alcohol-based hand sanitizer, 70% or more. If you have a cough or a cold, you really should refrain from public settings, refrain from taking public transport, seek the advice of your doctor. For now, the Caribbean remains at a low risk for this coronavirus, but it doesn't mean that we should not pay attention to what's happening. We should always be on our lookout, especially for persons traveling to a region where the coronavirus is present. So we have the hand washing, the proper cough etiquette, just good sanitation in general, and you keep your immune system up and pumping with your vitamin C, good nutrition, and that should be proper prevention from viruses.
While the risk to the region remains low, many countries are taking steps to keep out the virus. Dr. Davis says here at home, the surveillance systems have been beefed up, and they use the opportunity to give some interesting stats relating to the virus.
Of course. So should we have a suspect probable case of the 2019 novel coronavirus, that person would obviously have to be entering St. Vincent because we currently don't have it. So our ports of entries, we have beefed up our surveillance. Mind you, when I say beef up, that's because surveillance is always available. And should the case come here, they will be properly managed and isolated until the incubation period, the period of infectiousness, has disappeared. And that person would not be allowed to walk around in public so that they will be transmitting the virus to anyone. So yes, there are measures that will be taking place should we have a person with coronavirus. Mind you, I know that everyone seems a little scared because of the spread, but the fatality associated to coronavirus is roughly only about a 2%. The persons who are dying are the elderly with suppressed immune system, people over 65. So 2%, we know that any death should be unavoidable, and we don't like when people die. But 2% is really not a lot compared to something like Ebola with 50% in the last outbreak, 50%.
Vincentians are being invited to High Praises Gospel Concert this Saturday evening at the Victoria Park. The concert will commence from 6:30 p.m. with performances from a number of local gospel artists, with the feature act out of Africa at about 4. Pastor Castion Cupid said the concertee will be sharing a powerful testimony, which he hopes will help the youth of SVG who are struggling with homosexuality and drug addiction.
I'm going to share my testimony, and I want to encourage the young people, because I visited the prison a few days ago, and when I look at the men in prison, the ages are from 18 to 40, so we are losing our young men. So I want to share my testimony, maybe who can help somebody who came out of prison, who was struggling with homosexual, who was struggling with drugs, who was struggling with alcohol. I believe my testimony could bring restoration, could bring healing to them. So I want to encourage you to come down to the Victoria Park. This is not about a show, but this is about doing ministry for the Lord.
Feature artist Minister Atabafo said that the Gospel Comfort is a platform for persons who are hurt and heartbroken to experience the healing power of God.
Let's expect God to visit His people once again. I was telling Pastor Cupid, this is the year of the prophetic. It's a year of the double-double. a blessing. So it's about being available for God to use us to, these days there are people are battling with drug addiction, all sort of abuse and heartbreaks and a whole lot of things happening in families and issues that we don't want to see in our lives. But this is the year that anything that the Bible says, anything that the enemy has stolen from you, he's going to give you double. So it's just God creating a platform where his people will come together and then surrender and then say, Lord, take over.
Here is a snippet of what can be expected from the feature artist at Abafo at tomorrow's concert.
Hey, my God is good, oh, everything a double, oh, a double, promotion, double, oh, a double, oh. This is just a teaser. Come to the park on Saturday. It's gonna be epic. It's gonna be. Those of you that have experienced my ministry, you know that it's high energy. And then when we come down, we just fall flat before the presence of God and then give him the worship that he is due. That is what we are here for. It's all about Jesus.
Everybody's invited.
Everybody. It's a gospel event.
13 contestants will participate in this year's Toastmasters Area Speech Contest that will be held at the conference room of the Girls Guides headquarters tomorrow, Saturday, February the 1st, from 4 to 6 p.m. The speech contest, held annually, will have 3 categories: the International Speech Contest, the Evaluation Speech Contest, and the Tables Topic Speech Contest. This year's contest chairperson is Area Director Tamira Brown. The winners of this year's International and Table Topics Contest will advance to the Division Speech Contest to be held in Barbados in April. Vincentian Toastmaster Anika Stapleton in 2009, after winning the area level contest, advanced to the district contest in Jamaica, and after placing first, represented SVG and the entire Caribbean in the Toastmasters International Worldwide International Speech Contest in Connecticut of the USA. The Taiwan Embassy is now accepting applications for the 2020 academic year for its scholarship program. The application deadline is March 31st, 2020. The embassy says interviews will be done in April and announcements made in June. Persons can collect an application form from the embassy at Murray Road. Applicants are asked to have a photocopy of their SVG passport and a photocopy of their highest level diploma and the acceptance letter from a Mandarin training center affiliated with a university in Taiwan. Applicants may apply for admission to any degree program leading to an undergraduate 4 years, master's 2 years, or doctorate 4 years. For the Taiwan International Cooperation and Development Fund ICDF Scholarship Program, applications end on March 15, 2020. The scholarship program enables students to pursue specified master's or doctoral degree programs in 21 partner universities of ICDF, which commences in September 2020.